Quentin, what's going on with it, Doc?
Hello, everyone.
What's going on? What's going on? Mr. Larry Branch, how you doing, Mr. Branch?
Always good, never a bad day.
You know what? That's a fact, Jack. That's
Yeah.
an absolute fact. Mr. Trail, Mr. Danzler, how you doing this evening?
What's up, everybody? Doing
Man,
great.
You got it. You got it. Mr. O'Brien, what's going on, Mr. OB?
Can't call it room dog. How you been?
You got it, Doc. You got it. P, what's the deal, man?
And Mike muted.
Talk to me, P. What's up with it?
Oh, I'm good, man. Happy to be on, man.
And good deal, good deal. And
What's wrong with your foot?
so, man, we got everybody on, man. Happy Father's Day, first and foremost, man. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day. Everybody, did what they, came to do for Father's Day. I know everybody got a new car. You got something special and stuff like that. You know, we get great gifts for Father's Day. Pete, what's up with you, Mr. Pete?
What up, man? How are you?
Man, you got it. You got it. So listen, man, I'm going to go around the room and let everybody just introduce themselves real quick. I'm going to mute everybody's mic and let everybody just kind of go around the room, give us a quick introduction, who you are, where you from, and kind of what you specialize in. Just a quick introduction about everybody. And that way, the audience knows who you are and just kind of what you do. So we'll start with Mr. Quentin Caldwell. What's going on, Doc?
Hi, how you doing, Jamie? My name is Quentin Caldwell. I'm originally from Vicksburg, Mississippi, now residing in Atlanta, Georgia. I am married with one child is 9 years old, and I am currently employed as a risk management analyst for the city of Atlanta.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. In charge of something. I love that, man. I love that, man. Glad to have you on the show.
All right, thank you for having me.
Mr. Larry Branch.
Larry Branch, born and raised in Macomb, Mississippi. Currently reside in Brandon, Mississippi. 39 years of age. I love, I believe, JSU. 18-year employee in Nissan North America out of Canton, Mississippi. My specialty there is trainer, master trainer. I travel around the world globally, training, bringing new products back to Canton, making us very successful.
That's what's up. Being on, Doc. Mr. Trail, Mr. Danzler, what's going on? A little bit about yourself. Trail, talk to me.
What's up, everybody? Trail Danzler, man, originally from Heidelberg, Mississippi. Now residing in Pelham, Mississippi, where I teach and coach. Head coach of track, head coach boys middle school basketball, head coach varsity bowling team, assistant football coach for middle school, assistant football coach high school. Married for I think like 12, 13 years somewhere in there now. Me and my wife met at Alcorn. Best school in the land. Everybody know that.
What's up? You ain't got no off season. It sounds like you have no off season.
Man, it don't stop, Jamie. I'm answering emails and text now. Man, I mean, one day, man, the boy like I done fell off the earth.
That's what's up, man.
Proud father, man, of a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, man.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, Mr. Pete, talk to me. Mike.
Hey, y'all, what's good?
What's
my
up,
name
man?
is Pete Almeida Jr. I am not a native of Mississippi. I am actually a New England native, born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island, where, contrary to popular belief, there are Black people that live there. But I've been in Mississippi this next month will be 22 years. And currently I am a fitness instructor. I have my own business called Everyday Fitness. So we do virtual instruction and as well as I actually work in the service industry so I can pay my bills. So I serve as a bartender at Catherine's Steakhouse. And I actually also, and you know this, Jamie, because you've been a guest on the show, I have my own show called Everyday People. So where we have conversations with everyday people about all kinds of things, but specifically targeting mental health and wellness as well as physical wellness, because those are areas that a lot of times people in our community don't talk about. So just one little caveat: if you see me wiping my forehead and stuff, it's because my air is out in my house. About 85 degrees in here. But I made a commitment to you that I would do it. Me and the family came back from vacation.
This might be a weight loss podcast for you.
It's all good, man. Listen, I committed to this, and it's important. So we got another unit coming, but I am a father of a soon-to-be high school freshman who lives currently in Texas, and his name is Daniel, and he's 14. Just proud of him, and that's the greatest calling to have, man, as a father, especially being a black father, man. It's a great blessing, and looking forward to hearing the stories of all you brothers and learning. That's what it's about.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate it, Doc. Appreciate it. Pete Primal.
Hey, good afternoon. Good evening, folks. Marcus Primer, originally from Greenville, Mississippi. Currently now in the Houston area. The father of one 6-year-old going on 20. Let's see, worked for Conroe Independent School District, site coordinator, mostly work with youth risk, dropout prevention, football referee, basketball referee, and lacrosse. So I'm kind of busy.
Yeah, lacrosse. Oh my God.
Yeah, hey, black people play that too now.
I haven't seen it. You out there, but I haven't seen it personally.
It's not many though. That's the thing.
Oh man, appreciate it, P. Appreciate it. And Mr. O'Brien.
Good evening, y'all. Sam O'Brien. Oh man, let's see. Native of Greenwood, Mississippi. Like most of y'all in the room, attended Alcorn. Was down there with a lot of y'all at that time. I've been married. This July it'll be 17 years. 3 kids. The oldest is 15, middle kid is 12, and the youngest is 6. That's my daughter. And to a point that me and Quinn were talking about earlier, yes, she runs the show. Like I said, born and raised in Greenwood, Mississippi, but I've been in the Memphis area now for the last going on 9 years. Prior to that, lived in Little Rock, Arkansas for about 8 years. And my background, man, I work for a public education foundation. It's a nonprofit that does a lot of fundraising, fund management, and just kind of being an academic thought partner to the largest school district here in Tennessee. So that's kind of my background there. And I moonlight as a doctoral student at the University of Memphis. Everyone asking me when I'm going to finish. I tell them, look, I'm on scholarship and I'm passing. Don't ask me them questions.
Say, it ain't no start date, just an end date. That's what ET say. Man, appreciate it. Hey, guys, so listen. So we're on time, on task. I want to make sure we stayed on topic and stuff like that for tonight. I want to bring some guys that I knew well, some guys that I worked with in the past, some guys that we were just acquaintances. But this is an opportunity coming after Father's Day to come together and just discuss some stuff that we all deal with. There's some stuff that we all deal with. It's some conversation that I don't think we have enough. I don't think we have these open discussions enough. And you will see that we're very different in background and upbringing, but a lot of the things we're going to say tonight, we're going to be able to piggyback off of. Yeah, I understand. Yes, I agree. And even if we disagree on certain things, that's great. That way you can learn. You can say, okay, something's going on different in this household or another. So the first topic tonight is just about being a father, man. Like, I can remember, most of us, besides Pete, and of course he's been that age, but at 20 years old, early 20s, I knew most of you, and very different lifestyle back then. Myself, I know for sure I was not thinking about saving no money. I wasn't thinking about no spending habits. Like, it didn't even cross my mind. It wasn't even a topic. It wasn't even something we brought up. Just not me. But nowadays, you got kids that got businesses, entrepreneurs, and stuff like that. So the first topic I want to kind of talk about is financial. Being a father, what do you feel is your financial responsibility? Do you teach your kids about finances? Why or why not? Do you give allowances? Is this something you're passing down? Like, from a financial standpoint, what is your go-to? What is your go-to? We can start with let's chime in as you get ready. Unmute yourself and we can kind of go from there.
All right, I go first, man. Coming at I really want. Thank you, Jamie, for having this. First of all, man.
No
And
doubt.
I really wanted to get on this because I'm in a unique situation that you don't hear a lot about in the Black community. Is that I have a son with a mental disorder, which is autism.
Okay.
Whatnot. So, sitting around, man, I always tell people when I was going through the quarantine and whatnot, we was, people like, oh, I gotta I can't stand this. I'm ready to go. Man, we were trying to think of ways to get better. So I started a business. I started him a business. I legally, or not legally, but I made him the owner of this business, and whatnot. So I've taught him on how to deal with customers because me knowing his situation and knowing his autism, he's probably going to have a tough time in life holding a job because of just, if it doesn't fit him, then he won't be able to do that job. So we started our own pressure washing business, man. And just, on the spur of a moment I'm be honest with y'all because I think we can be real on here, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I took that stimulus money, man. I took that 1,400 and I added a little bit that I had saved, and we started up a pressure washing business, man. And with that business, this dude has learned how to work hard. He's learned how to save money. He's brought him a PlayStation. He's brought him shoes. Man, the dude even on my earnings, well, if I got of it, I paid for some college courses. So financially, with him, my daughter just got her first official job, and I specifically wanted her to work at a place, to learn, because she's 16 years old, man. She's a girl. She got a hot mouth. She got a real bad mouth. I ain't say bad, but she got what I'm saying? It's a little too much for me sometimes.
She got a 16-year-old mouth.
She got a 16-year-old mouth. And I know if y'all been around them, y'all know. So
I got a 16-year-old.
At Chick-fil-A. Well, I don't care what nobody say to you, your response is, my pleasure. So we learned a little, and she was already a saver, man. She knew daddy was going to get it. So she knew how to save her money. She knew how to finance. She knew about finance and stuff. But it was more important for him to learn than her, being with capabilities he had.
Got it. Man, that's great. That's awesome. What else we got, man? I
will say this, Jamie. I have been trying to teach my daughter about better habits because, like you said, when I was growing up, when we were young growing up, we never thought about that type of stuff. I mean, it's my responsibility to and put that on here. I also do it with my nephews in college now, also to teach them things that I wish I had known when I was growing up in their age.
Doc, it didn't even cross my mind to save some money, man. I was going to
spend as fast as you got it.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And one of the big things that I feel like that they didn't teach us when we were in school that I'm really putting on my daughter and like to my niece and nephew now is about student loan debt. If you can, try the best you can not to take out any loans when you're going to school.
Every year. When they ask me, say, okay, Jamie, I can give you this much. I can give you 28, but you can max out at 35.
Give it at 35.
35, me.
35.
But you got to realize too, y'all, a lot of us had to take the refunds to survive because, hey, where I was on a single parent and my mom couldn't afford to give me no extra money. So I understand that, we stay away from the student loan, but how I'm going to survive?
Yeah.
So that's, it's that student loan is a catch-22, but she a hard girl to deal with.
I mean, Prime won't say they didn't teach us anything about paying it back, about interest rates and all that type of stuff. We were just money that they were just giving us. That's all we knew.
I just knew I was in love with her.
Stand in line waiting on her.
Oh my God. Oh man. What you think? What you got, OB? What you got, Branch?
Oh yeah, I go next, and I want to start with apologies to my kids. That's one thing I didn't mention during my introduction. I have a 11-year-old son, 19-year-old daughter, which both I love dearly. So the topic of finances, and it's strange that this is our first topic. Me and my brother, we had this conversation a couple of days ago talking about finances, talking about financial education. And I myself am a vice chairman of the board of directors for Veritas Federal Credit Union, which is the credit union for Nissan North America. And so I have a lot of insights and a lot of knowledge about finances that we don't often get in our world, but everything that I've seen in my 10 year on the board of directors supervised for me, it all boils down back to the one thing that I've learned my entire life. And Jamie will be able to vouch for me. He always asks, how am I doing? And then my first comments are say, I'm great, always good, never a bad day. And the reason I never had a bad day is because my father had them for me. 39 years of age, I've never had a bad day. My old man did what he was supposed to do, went over and beyond. And one of the things he always taught us, save your money. And he has a motto, prepare for hard times when times are going good.
Yeah. That's good.
And you sit back and you think about that, you have a chance to put that money to the side, because he always say, as a man, everybody's going to go through that one hard time that's going to be hard to come back from.
Yeah.
But if you save and if you prepare, then you have that opportunity to make things a whole lot easier for you. And as a man, having a family, he always stated, hey, make sure before you lay down with her, you ready to provide for the rest of the life. That's your responsibility. And say the hardest thing for a man to do is look that child in the eye and tell them you can't get something that they want.
Yeah.
I took all those things to heart as I was growing up, coming up, saved a lot, saved more than possibly I should have at that time. And looking back on it, it was well worth it. Well worth it. Now my son, he likes to buy video games, things for video games, and he always asks me, can he use his money? I tell him, yeah, I take his money and go buy it. But what I do, I end up buying it on my own and still saving his money for him, so he'll have something.
Right, but he's willing to spend his money. That's yes. Awesome right there. That's awesome that he has that mindset. What you got, OB?
Man, I was actually gonna back up Primer and Quinn. Man, y'all should have watched the exit video when y'all took them loans. It was 10 minutes telling you everything you're not gonna be able to do when you default on. I remember that, and when it happened, I remember everything I couldn't do. But I
didn't get that.
I didn't get no exit video.
Man, look,
How you get that video?
Man, it was I can't remember, but it was back then financially. You remember how I used to roll out the cart with the VCR and the TV in grade school?
Yeah.
After you signed.
Never. Yeah. Man, I have never even heard of this. I swear.
I never heard of a exit video when they gave them loans.
Yes.
They was giving that money and sending you.
It was about this was like when you get ready to graduate. It was about a 5-minute video.
Oh no, I know.
You I mean, a lot of y'all probably forged the signatures on your checkout sheet anyway. You know, so it's cool.
Hey, look, your parent got to sign this. Okay, she outside.
Okay, right.
I got my signature already. Okay.
Yeah, but one thing I've done, man. I think about what my parents tried to do. See, Greg, he remembered. But one thing that I try to do that my parents didn't do. My kids actually know how much money like me and my wife make, right? Mm-hmm. Because we kind of explain it to them like, look, we didn't, we're 40, 41. I didn't start out making this money, out of college, and I didn't have this job out of college. I didn't have this free time and this comfort out of college. There was this struggle, there was this grind to even, bump my head a few places to get where we are now. We're far from being independently wealthy. But, I felt that my kids understanding how much money we made, how much things cost, will give them kind of a frame of reference for what they can and can't do. So, I remember when I was younger, I used to go to the bank with my dad when he used to pay all the bills and, just go all over town. He'd go to the water company and whatnot. But I really didn't understand what was going on. But like now my kids, man, they know how much the house costs, how much the car costs. They know how much money I make. They know how much we paying out in bills every month.
I definitely didn't know this stuff growing up.
To the point, man, when real quick, we went to Orlando, Florida a couple of weeks ago, And you gonna buy a couple of souvenirs when you go to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
My middle kid, we walked out of Orlando, and I was like, Jacob, did you want anything? And he was like, well, everything in there was so expensive, I didn't want you to spend no more money. And so I was like, man, I never thought like that when I was with my parents. I was like, can I get this? Like, so. And so the thing was, what it turns into is just kind of just letting them be in the know about what we got going on. Also to kind of give them a sense of confidence, letting them know like, hey, we ain't gonna be broke. I hope, pray to God, no time soon. Bills are paid up, and we're good at what we do. But at the same time, it turns out my son kind of had this calculator in his head of like, I'm not gonna hit dad up for this $27 hat. Just because I want it, we could do that on something else. Right. And that's what I took from that, man. Again, like I knew all the places my dad went to pay the bills, but I couldn't tell you, a dollar from $5 based on whatever he spent or paid off. Yeah. So just sharing that information with my kids is just something we do a little bit different.
That's what's up, man. Pete.
We froze, ain't it?
Pram.
Hey, but check this out, man. I was listening to what Sam said. We do things with my son, but man, I never remember taking a family vacation with my mom. I never remember doing that. Never.
I think I went on a family vacation once to Orlando, and I mean this is from childhood to 18. I think we went on one family vacation to Orlando. That's it.
One.
Yeah, I've been to one Disney World. I went to Disney World one time.
Yeah, I don't remember none. Like that's why I try to do a lot with Hayden. We take him places. Like I said, I don't remember going nowhere. I just remember my mama working.
Yeah, I remember that.
Also, Pete, Primer man, not only just to say, we went on vacation, but now you talking about worldly exposure, man. Get them out of their surroundings. Show them something different, man. I work. Man, one of the saddest stories, man, I think I ever heard, man. Worked with a kid, was graduated. He just graduated this year. Kid, 18 years old, man, had never been out of Pelham. He said the further he's been is to Hattiesburg. Like, come on, man. Like, what I'm saying? It ain't maybe his family couldn't do it. But, I got a daughter. Both my kids got passports, man. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But, it's
more like that than not, though. It's more there haven't been places than it is that have been places.
You're right.
I mean, Trail, something I thought that was weird when I moved here to Atlanta. It was just I was meeting people who tell me they hadn't been to the different parts of Atlanta before. They only been in their community their whole life.
That's crazy, man.
But that's just like some of the students I have, like in our program. We took the group of boys to the basketball game in Houston. They had never seen a skyscraper because they only stayed in their little town. We took them down. I'm talking about they taking pictures. They had never been downtown. It's 35, 40 minutes away.
That's crazy, man.
Wow, man, that's crazy. That is really crazy. But like Brand say, I too know people the same way. I know people that have not left Copiah County, Lincoln, Hinds County, 3-county range. Mm-hmm. And like I said, one is their comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? From a financial standpoint, they are comfortable in that surrounding and settings. You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable. When you're talking about saving money to do certain things like that, they don't see the value in it. And they don't see the value. And so if they don't see the value in it, they're not going to instill it into their kids. They're not going to say, hey, listen, we're going to save up and go here. We're going to save up and allow you to do certain things that are different, different exposure and stuff like that. But if they don't see it, if the parent doesn't see value in it, then the kid won't see value in it. It's now that is a trickle down. That's something that's learned. If a child seeing you splurge and not save and spend wildly, then what's your expectations of the child? From that standpoint. So everybody here has their kids doing something, learning something. I will say this, and I'm not gonna say it's any fault of anyone's, but I didn't have that unique background. My dad wanted me to work for money, but as far as telling me what to do with it, telling me to save it, I didn't have that much structure from that standpoint. I didn't have a lot growing up. Now I didn't have a lot to spend, so it wasn't like I was gonna spend a lot of money because I didn't have a lot, didn't have a lot to spend. I never had Jordans. The first pair of Jordans I got on a trip, and somebody left them up under a bed, and I got those Jordans. That was my first pair of Jordans. This is no lie. I was going over Kappa. We was in New Orleans, and we was down there at the hotel, and everybody's kind of room to room talking, blah 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 blah. So we walked in the room, nobody there. I sit on the bed, my foot bumped a box up under the bed. I said, man, let me see what this is right here. I looked up under the bed, my size 13 Jordan. I said, now, this right here ain't nothing but a blessing, right? I had never had a pair of Jordans on my feet at all. I had to be 20 years old. I had to be 20. So I just replaced my shoes with their shoes, slid the bottom under the bed. Hey, they were hot. Something about it was hot. And
they probably think about that for a couple of days. They was probably so intoxicated they didn't think about it for a couple.
Man, they talking about that. Somebody talking about that right now.
Hey, somebody got the other side of that story. Somebody got the other side of that story. It's not something I'm proud of, but that was the first pair. I never had a starter jacket. I never had Jabos. I never had this stuff. I was Arizona jeans all the way down, cross colors, duck head. Man, I had so many duck heads. I had so many $14 pair of shorts. But, my kids, I try to instill them the same way you all doing yours, but my kids they still get greedy. They still want stuff that's outside there. I think their price range is, and it just the way the times are. We didn't have the same. I don't think we had the same pressure. You know what I'm saying? If somebody didn't have something in school, it wasn't a whole lot. Their family didn't have a whole lot. That's just kind of how we were. Like, okay, you didn't expect certain people to have certain things on. It wasn't a whole lot of joking and stuff like that. From my school, it wasn't. Like, okay, that family right there, that's about all they got. He got what he got. But now it's Instagram, it's Snapchat.
Social media gives these kids a false sense of what reality is now.
Yeah.
They only see the bling and the good of everything on social media. They don't see the background.
Yep.
Like, so when we were in school, you knew that person the way they were when they went home. So you could tell they were just fronting when they was at school with things. But social media now, their kids don't get to see that.
Mm-mm. They don't. They really don't. Like I said, it's just one of those crazy things, man. So from a financial standpoint, man, good talk. I like everybody's answers. I guess where everybody's headed, and especially what everybody's doing with their kid, man. So I'm proud of you all for the structure you're bringing from that standpoint. The next topic is physical fitness. And Pete, he said he's a trainer. He's having some technical difficulties right now. But what role does physical fitness play in your life and your family life? Are you the father who is a coach or a father, that's pushing from the sideline? How are you assuring that your child is active? Because we know it's a social media driven world right now. We had to play. There was no, it wasn't even, you got to go outside. Our parents forced us outside sometimes. Go outside and play. Like, that's what you had to do. So from a physical standpoint, what are you doing to ensuring that you, one, healthy, in shape, pushing yourself, and then what are you doing from your child's perspective?
Well, my daughter, she's involved in gymnastics, and me and my wife, we make sure she stays active, and that not only from the physical standpoint, but also from the mental standpoint. Like I said, getting involved and socializing with other kids.
A good deal,
man. We are very active. Like my entire family, we very active. Like we have a rule in our house. Like you gonna do something at some point of the year, school year, you ought to be coming home late. You shouldn't be coming home every day at 14. That's just what we operate. So at some point, you should be coming home. we stay active, man. Now, health-wise, now we could do better. You know, my son plays basketball. He plays football. My daughter's in the band, you know, powerlifting, bowling. So she does all these things. You know, me and my wife are very active. Like I just told y'all all the stuff I do every day. So, but, you know, focusing on health could be much better. You know, I fail right there with them. I ain't gonna lie. I fail right there with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of piggyback off a trail right there, man. We could do a whole lot better. To your point, man, and to your point, Jamie, and then to the point here, I think one thing where there's this disconnect is, you know, in Greenwood, you know, it was easy to go outside and play because you knew everybody. You know, like all my uncles and most of my aunts lived in Greenwood, the next neighborhood over. So it was nothing to get on your bike, you know, ride like 13 miles, you know, on an afternoon after you got out of school or after football practice or whatever, and go visit folks. I think one thing that's kind of happened, you know, I can speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody. You know, a lot of our opportunities out of Alcorn happening in places we didn't grow up, right? So, you know, I'm living just here south of Memphis, you know, Primer, you're in Houston or whatever. And, you know, quite simply put, man, it's like you had to almost rebuild a village for your kids to go out and be as active as we were, you know, back in the day. So, you know, it's a little bit tougher. Like, you know, my kids, they'll get on the bike and they'll go around the corner and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, take your phone, make sure it's charged. Don't look nobody in the face. Look both ways before you cross. It's like I give them like this list of rules just to be safe in a place where I didn't grow up.
So it's almost has regressed. The opportunity to, I guess, for physical fun and stuff like that, you know, at home has almost been taken away.
It seems like that, man. Because, like, again, like, you know, I was at home this past weekend hanging out with my dad, and like I was just kind of driving through where we used to play. It was nothing to take your basketball, walk down the street to the court, play. Well, wait on your up. You know, you just didn't go play. You know, wait on your up, and hope you get in that day. But now it's like, man, we putting up basketball goals in our driveway, you know, for you know, and make the kids go out there and do a little bit of that. But, you know, but my point is, like, Trail, we could do a whole lot better, man. And then also I got to think about just, you know, what my kids cling to. Like my son, my oldest son, man, he's 6'1", you know, just got out the 9th grade. I would have killed for that kind of height in 9th grade. I would have tried to play basketball, but I'm like, Doc, you don't want to play? Like, nah, I'm good. But he's in the choir and he's like masterful at it, right? So it's like, well, that's good. I'm gonna let you roll with that. But I look at their height and I can't help but to be jealous because, you know, I was every bit of like 5'5" in 9th grade, you know. But, you know, that's
you looking at him sideways like, come on, dude.
Right. Right. But, you know, but at the same time, like, either, no, like I say, knowing your kids, knowing what they're good at, you know, make sure that they're excelling in that is the other thing. And I think that kind of, you know, that you got to do as well. You know, you want them to be more active, you want to do more, and you push and you try to do those things, but you also got to figure out what they like and what they're good at, and honestly, what they'll enjoy.
Right. I got you. That makes sense too. That's huge as far as what they enjoy. I like pushing physical fitness in my family. My daughter, she's tall, 5'10", 5'11". She's going into the 12th grade this upcoming year. Has never wanted to do anything sport related, never. And now she's like getting into sports. She get into sports. She want to run, maybe run track. So I like it, especially from a physical fitness starting at that age and it really being on their mind. From old school, you just had people who was in shape. You just had people that was, you know, physically inclined, and then you just had the people like me that's just kind of, the old word is flicked. They just have no coordination and stuff like that. But now these kids, you know, I guess it's a twofold thing because now you got AAU, now you got traveling this, traveling that, you know this and the other, and you can actually overdo it. You know, I said I would not be that dad. I would not be that dad because the Knicks didn't call me. I don't want to drive my son into the ground. You know what I'm saying? You know, with basketball, you got to
live vicariously through him.
Right. I said there was one thing I wasn't gonna be, man. Pete, what you got
every day.
on physical
Hey,
fitness?
sorry about that, y'all. I've been having some technical difficulties, but
It's all
I
good.
would say for me, just having grown. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Having grown up playing basketball, that was one thing, and I think somebody said it is. I think one of the things that you got to be careful of is sometimes people parents try to live vicariously through their children, and just because I played basketball, that wasn't something that I wanted to push him to do. So, actually, my son's first sport is soccer, and he started playing. He was 4 years old, and he took a couple years off in between. But I think this is his 8th year playing soccer. And he loves it. And I wanted to really specifically let him find his own way. Because the first time he played basketball was back when the Y on Fortification Street was open.
I remember that.
He was like 3 years old, and he played basketball. He didn't like it. And then a couple years, he tried to play baseball and t-ball. He didn't like that. He just gravitated to soccer. Well, now he's a basketball player. Now he's almost 5'9". He'll be in high school. He didn't make the team, so we're really preparing him to get ready to what it takes to be on the basketball team. My son doesn't live in Mississippi. Full disclosure, he lives in Texas. And so the schools where he lives in Texas are a lot bigger. So they're like community colleges. That means you have a lot more competition.
Yeah.
So I am teaching him the power of preparation, training, and stuff like that. One, because I want to see him fulfill his dream. I know that's something he's passionate about. And, for me, man, as I said in the opening, fitness is a way of life. It's not something that it's something that I do. I teach, and it's something that I've passed to him. And so we talk a lot about physical fitness and health and wellness and the importance of that. And, but for me, man, I want him to find his own lane, to be his own person. I think this is my opinion. A lot of times, like I said, people try to live vicariously through their children, or they push it. I remember my son was like 8 years old, and he's playing in this league. And his one parent was up there just hollering and just like talking smack. I'm like, to me, I was like, the kids are only 9 years old. I'm not saying I believe in participation trophies, but like, I'm not that. Someone said that I'm not going to just, push that to, I want my child to learn how to fail. I think one of the things in sports that you can do is teach your kids how to fail, AKA Ben Simmons last night. We're not going to discuss that. But anyhow, teach him how to fail and how to lose fairly and how to recover and how to improve and get better. So, I think physical fitness, and there's so many lessons, as you guys probably know. I know somebody was talking about all the stuff they do. I'm like, I don't know how you sleep. It was like, I'm a coach of this, a middle school this, and all that kind of stuff. Like, there are so many life lessons that we can teach our kids through the power of sports. And, that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach my child.
You think about this, man. I see that like every weekend, man. A parent trying to live through this. When I be refereeing, we put Hayden in soccer. I know he just told us he wanted to play. So I'm thinking, I don't know nothing about soccer. His mama don't know. Mm-hmm. In my mind, he can't play. You put him on there. He was a little iffy the first game. The next 7 or 8. Hey, we talking like he in Spain. He the best player on the play out there. Then back to next year. Right back. I don't know where he learned it from, but he was the best player on this team. Like COVID stopped us last year, so we're gonna put him back this year. Now I ain't pushing him to play football. Yeah. He want to play flag football. We're gonna start him up. Whatever he want to do, I'm with. I ain't pushing him to do nothing. Hey, only thing he got to do is do his work in school, be a good student.
Absolutely.
Like I say, I don't care if we don't play sport. Like I said, when he there, I'm gonna be there cheering. I might be clowning in the stand, but I ain't arguing with nobody. I'm just cheering for my son, real hard, supporting him with whatever he do.
That's good. That's good. So from physical fitness standpoint, I recently started back becoming very active. I watched my father all the way throughout up until maybe a couple of years ago. He was very active in physical fitness, working out, all of those things. I think roughly in his mid-50s, he's 72 now, mid-50s, he was still able to run a 6 or 7 minute mile. I think mid-40s, he was still putting down a 4.840 or so, something like that. So I watched that in my entire life as far as physical fitness, and it transitioned to me to continue running off and on, little weightlifting here and there. But now with my son, I'm more active, involved with him, and it has driven me to put myself back in a better condition. I got around up to 260 pounds from 2017 to May of 2020. 3 years I was traveling away from the home roughly about a year's time, whether that was going to sporting events, traveling for work. So I picked up a lot of weight. So I'm down to 240 now. So I got a goal coming up to just hit my 9-minute mile, goal of getting close to my 6-minute mile. I know I got a lot to go there. 2.5 minute 2.5 minute 800 and 1 minute 400. So those are some personal goals that I have to have. So I'm very heavily involved in his sporting, baseball, basketball, football. I've been a coach of all of his teams. Being there for him, being there supporting him, and a lot of things and it's driven by a lot. So I would say all the way throughout high school, I could count on one hand, two hands, the amount of times that my father actually made one of my sporting events. At least I thought that. It wasn't until my senior year that I was going to run track in Amite County. Some of the fastest guys in the southeastern was there. Wilkinson County, Natchez, Amite County. We all know how their track team was. And so one Saturday morning, I got up, rode by his business to tell him to come watch me. And he's a mechanic business. And at that time, he had 8 vehicles at his shop. So he normally closes about 12. 8 vehicles at his shop. All of them were under a jack. Hood was up. Some sort of repair was being performed. And he was the only one working that day. So I didn't bother to stop because I said he wasn't going to make it to see me run anyway. Little did I know, I ran that day 300 hurdles. So I got home that night, got right out of the shower, got ready to go to the mall. And he came in there and he told me, he said, you would have had that race if you didn't trip over that hurdle. And I thought about it. I said, the only way he knew about me tripping over that hurdle if he had made it there. So I said, there's no way he repaired all of those vehicles and made it there to see me. So when I got ready to leave, went to the mall, drove by the shop again, there wasn't a vehicle in sight. So he repaired all of those vehicles against what I thought could be done, and he made it there to see me run. And so I had to look back and regret all of those times that my mom picked me up, and I would start crying intentionally, and she would ask me what was wrong, and I would say, why my dad don't come see me? I did that intentionally, hoping that she would tell him. And so a lot of my drive for my child is to pay back the honor and respect that I owe to my father.
Man, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep right there, man.
That's amazing, bro.
To I guess just from that standpoint, Branch, is when you have that presence, it means, it's, in sports it means it's a different feeling knowing that you got somebody there that got your back. You know what I'm saying? Just to watch you, just to say that they're in your.
It's different.
I was not a good basketball player. I wouldn't. And I didn't.
Hey, did we catch that? Did somebody record that?
I understand. I want to say we all have seen you hoops. We know
Man, shut up. Hey, they're like, okay, we know that part. But the thing about it is, man, I didn't have that backing. I did not have my dad there, my mom there. So, I always think about that. And I think about that when it's my sons or daughters or my bonus kids, when they have events and stuff like that, just for them to see my face there, to show that I was, I came to watch them. I drove to watch them. I stopped doing what I was doing just to be a part of the event they're having. Just from a physical standpoint, my daughter, just going walking with her. We ain't set no records or nothing like that, but it's a different kind of fun that you can have that's being around your child when they're doing something physical. You know what I'm saying? When they're getting tired, hey, you're tired, you can pick them up, just encouraging words and stuff like that, man. But that's huge. That's,
Guys, that support go a long way. Check this out, though. We talk about support. Think about this. I got a student, one of my students. She is the only one in this country. Listen to what I'm saying now. She here by herself in the country. Her family is got to be Honduras. They deported her parents. Now she no family. 18-year-old student surviving on her own. And so the only thing she knows is to work. She's just trying to survive the best she can. But and then we go back and look at those parents, those kids who have parents and they don't even come to see their kids.
Yeah.
You think, man, this kid here all by herself, man. Listen, 12th grade student, she pays $600 to rent a room. She in the 12th grade. She's renting a room from somebody.
I can't imagine. I literally can't imagine having to come up with $600 a month. I cannot.
As a 12th grader,
Hey, she working 45, 50 hours. I'm like, for a room and you sharing it? She was like, wow. It's all like that.
Man,
that is better than where she came from, probably.
But with no family though, that's hard.
Yeah. At that age, like I said, just being able to have that mindset, like we talked about it earlier, I just didn't have it. I just did not. I mean, she basically an adult. She's an adult right now. She just happened to be in high school.
Yeah.
I barely could pay my beeper bill in the 12th grade.
Oh yeah, my beeper was off every other month. Hey, just got it for a watch. Just looking at it like, yeah, I don't know why anybody beat me. I don't know why. Man, things so off, no service. Oh man. So on the next leg of our talk tonight, man, I want to make sure we're going to talk a little bit about mental health. So we've talked about financial, we talked a little bit about physical, and our next talk will be about financial. It'll be about our mental health. And I think that's something that we're a lot more conscious of now. It's just a lot more talked about, because when we were growing up, mental health was ain't nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Walk it off.
You walk it out. That was
DJ crazy. Leave him alone. Yeah.
It was nothing else, man. So listen, man, I'm gonna play a quick clip, and we'll come right back, and we will be talking about mental health. I know I'm getting older, but just seeing a scroll of fathers with their kids, man, it's just a different level of sentiments, man. Just knowing that how much you impact these young kids' lives. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every day, like we're learning every day, we're impacting their life every day. I think it's awesome, man. I think it's awesome just to be around a group of dads that are, putting forth the effort. And like I said, our next talk will be about our mental health. And so I guess our question is, have you ever dealt with or battled depression? How open do you feel your children are with you? Do you know the signs of mental despair? How do you keep yourself mentally healthy?
Oh, I go first again.
Always.
Oh, it's something, real close to me right here, man. Like I said earlier, so I got a son that has autism. Man, one of the hardest things, guys, in the world to hear is as a black man with a black son, being aware of the world, and trying to do right and know how the world is going to treat him, is for somebody to tell you, oh, he got a problem. Something's wrong. That's hard, guys. I mean, I don't know if any of you ever had to swallow that pill before, but that's a hard one, man. And, that right there not only affected, it obviously affected them, it affected us as a family, especially me, because as a dad, I feel your ultimate job as a father, man, is the truest form of accountability and responsibility. It's its truest form. Like it's no sideways about it. There's no shortcuts to it or nothing. And as a dad, I feel like my job is to fix stuff, and I couldn't fix that, man. I couldn't fix it, and I've gotten through it, and I just so happen had a great friend, man, that guy right now, I keep in contact with him, psychiatrist, man, who could kind of talk with me, let me know, like this ain't the end of the world, because I was ready to give up. My son sitting over here like, man, what's wrong with you? But I'm like, man, I know what's in store for you. I know what world you about to go into with, with some hindrance. But as far as myself, man, mental health, after we got past that, fine now, I look at him like, we don't even talk about it anymore. He knows about it, he knows whatnot. He knows his limitations. I know his limitations. We as a family know his limitations, but it doesn't stop us from doing anything. It doesn't stop him from doing anything. I always tell people, I brag on him. He plays football, basketball. This dude is the student body president of his school, or the middle school,
More out doing in school already.
Right. And and so Jamie, I'm looking at it, man, like, people tell me all the time, like, man, you a prime example of these parents who, oh, woe is me parents, and don't hold it, over their head child and whatnot. Yeah. But mental health, man, has not been talked about in the black community. Like you said, it's not, like you said, people, I've heard so many times, man, like, and we all had it, because we all basically from the same basic background. Yep. Man, you got a kid with something was, had a disorder or something, man, he gonna go to that self-contained room and you might not see him but once a day. And that's it. He gonna be down there, and what's gonna be done about that, And me looking at it now, working in the education system, having a child with a somewhat, I don't like to call it a disability, but a issue. We did them kids injustice, man, by just throwing them in that room. It's a lot of people hurting right now behind that because we just place them in a self-contained room.
Yeah.
And we got to start talking about this. We got to start facing this, and it's real. Like it's a real thing.
We never got to any root causes. You know what I'm saying? You had kids that acted bad and kids that acted good. And the kids that acted bad, they were just punished. Hey, is something going on in the home? I mean, it was nothing ever, no root cause ever found. Hey, are you being abused? Are you seeing drugs being used? Like, it was none of that. It was none of that. Come on with it, Q.
No, I'm disagreeing with what you were saying. Yeah. Never looked into the background of what's going on with that child to see why they acted out like that when they're at home, when they're here at school.
Hey, and I'm gonna be honest, man. You know why? And like I said, we're gonna be real on here. because
sure.
we in the black community said, man, them white people problem right there.
Exactly.
Them white folks stuff right there. I ain't gonna say the other word, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That white folks stuff that ain't in our community, man. And we turned the blind eye to it.
Yeah, that's true there.
As far as myself, man, I have an uncanny ability, a blessing. It ain't ability, it's a blessing. Man, all the stuff I do, man, I know how to cut it off. I know how to cut it off. I can go home at the end of the day. I done coached 2 sports. I maybe had a game, a practice. I done had a crazy kid in class acting stupid. Man, when I get home, I forget all about it. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad the Lord has blessed me with that ability, but I cut it out quick.
That's good, man. That way you ain't taking that stuff home to your family and stuff like that.
Never go home.
That's good. That's good, man. Come on with it, guys.
And speaking on mental,
I would say black trauma. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, Pete. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, as someone said, we got to have the conversation. We do, because, you know, a lot of us grow up in trauma. You know, like, we being transparent. So I've known trauma for a lot of seasons of my life, starting from when I was a child. You know, my mother left the house, like, literally. I don't remember ever being in a 2-parent home. And I came home with my pops one day because he used to have us on the weekend. I get to the house and my mother is gone, like literally gone, like she literally left at 5 years old. So,
all right, that's on you, Q.
No, I was just going to speak as far as with the mental health aspect of it. And when COVID first hit, my daughter, she kind of dealt with a lot of it because she's more of a social type person, and then having to be home and isolated was not good for her.
Yeah.
So I was happy when they started letting kids go back to school, because it was something that really was dealing with her. Just had to be in isolation by herself. And she used to tell me, "Daddy, I don't like this." She said, "I'm having to just sit and talk on the computer to people, and I don't get to see them."
Yeah, she ain't like that. Yeah, my kids need to be around people. That's just that's how their energy is. They get being here, man. My son, daughter, they will be in front of their computer missing class. I'm talking with their laptop open. Like, what you doing? Oh, I lost track of time. You know what I'm saying? They need that structure of school. People be with a crowd. Like, okay, my crowd, you going here, or I need to be going somewhere. Man, yeah, it's different. But I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. It's gonna be some kids. There's gonna be some kids. I'm gonna let y'all chime in, but it's gonna be some kids miss so many years of school. It's gonna be some kids don't go back. You know, don't go back to school. They're gonna choose virtual for 3, 4, 5 years. Virtual college. Man, do you know what it's gonna do to them socially?
Exactly.
You understand how they're not gonna be able to argue with nobody and then figure out, okay, we cool. You know, it's a lot of ramifications with this virtual stuff, man, from a mental standpoint.
But then, you know,
go ahead. Well, I was going to say real quick. Is two things I've learned. One, when I take my kids in just for annual checkups, just childhood doctors and whatnot. One thing the doctors here in Mississippi have started doing over the last couple of years is incorporating mental health checks into the physicals, which is like, I'm sitting there with my son and they checking temperature, actually say and then they're like, all right, Mr. O'Brien, we need you to leave the room. And I'm like, what for? Why I gotta walk out? And then they're like, we gonna do a mental health assessment, and like we don't want parents to be in the room because we're asking questions about the house. And long story short, if there's anything like any adverse childhood experiences going on, we don't want the kid to be pressured to not say anything just because mom and dad is sitting there. Right. And so that has been real helpful. Thank God that my kids ain't they're not a bunch of smart alecks and they just report me to them folks. You know what I'm saying? But the other part, you guys were talking about, the onset of COVID, man. Like when COVID hit and we had a quarantine, man, my boys was on Fortnite like hours through the day, hours. And it get to the point, I'm like, look, okay, y'all got to get off this game. What y'all doing? And they get real moody, like angry. And I had to kind of step.
They're addicted to it.
Yeah. Not only they're addicted, it was the only way they could talk to their friends.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of recognize that. And so it's like, so, you know, I'm far from a mental health expert, but you know, sometimes you gotta try to see how kids have coping mechanisms with something that's never happened before. So, you know, we had to govern the time. But you know, I'm thinking that they just, man, y'all just playing all day. Y'all ain't doing no work. Y'all ain't cutting no grass. Y'all ain't doing nothing. But it was like school stopped all of a sudden, and they didn't go back. You know, they didn't go back for like practically, you know, 8-9 months, right? And one of their coping mechanisms was, I'm finna play Fortnite with these headsets, and I'm finna talk to my friends while I'm playing Fortnite. So, you know, long story short, you just got to kind of, you know, to Trail's point, you just got to kind of watch your kid, see what's going on, you know, ask those questions that are like, you know, not attacking, because, you know, you don't want to be like, what was wrong with you? You got to be like, tell me what's going on. You good? Let's talk through it, you know, and just kind of have that tone. And, you know, again, this is something that, you know, when we were younger, you know, you have a bad day at school, it was like, well, you got to go back tomorrow. And then you ain't throwing up, you ain't got a temperature, you going back tomorrow. And, you know, you might be getting bullied, you know, kids might be picking on you, and you just had to deal with it. And now those folks grow up and become, you know, emotionally stunted adults because that childhood stuff wasn't worked out.
OB, I'm gonna give you some research info, man. I did a research paper about 2 years ago. Playing video games is helpful, but you have to do it, what you said, in a controlled setting. 20 to 30 minutes a day playing a game like Fortnite or some kind of strategy game or whatnot. Believe it or not, even like Grand Theft Auto, man, even though it's a terrible game to play, but those games played with 20 and 30 minute strategy game actually increases brain capacity and works with hand-eye coordination and functionality of the brain. So what I do with my son, like I give him about 30. He kind of does it on his own now. I give him about 40 minutes. You know, he go crazy for about 40 minutes. Then he know I'm finna take a break. If he's there all day, you know, now he gonna take a break. He gonna come holler at me. He gonna eat. You know, he kind of got it structured around dinner time. He gonna go eat. We gonna sit around at the table as a family, talk, chop it up. He gonna go back in there and go crazy again, you know, and whatnot. And I'm not saying I'm doing it the right way, but through my research, that's kind of like the way you should do it.
That's what's up, man.
I can agree with that. Cause looking back, when my son 3, 4, 5 years old, he was beginning to start get heavily involved in the video games. And what I did notice and recognize, the words that he was learning them at a quicker pace than he would have ran across those words throughout traditional school. So it's beneficial if you allow them to use it and they use it the right way. There are some games out there. Well, I'm not gonna say so much games. Sometimes some of the people online. So that's what you got to try to watch out for the most. And one of the biggest things about mental health in the Black community, and then mainly amongst the Black males, we are taught to defeat mental health. We're taught to defeat mental issues. We're taught to defeat and overcome a lot of things. So what do we do when we defeat it? We put it to the side and it's gone. So when someone else is going through that or someone else is experiencing it, our experience is, hey, man, you can get through that. You'll be all right. You'll get over it. And not coaching them through what it took to get to that point.
Right.
Or for us revisiting what it took for us to get to that point. And I remember one of the stories that I always remember. I was in the process of moving my family from Macomb to Brandon. And so I hadn't fully transitioned to day shift. And my father said, man, how's everything going? Anything you want to talk about? And before I opened my mouth, he said, before you say anything, I want you to always remember one thing. Never apologize for a decision you thought was best for your family. And we paused for 2 minutes and then he came back in. Anything you want to talk about? And at that point, it stuck with me of how you have to look and how you have to assess situations because you can easily find fault in every situation you do. You placed the bet and you won $900, but you thought you were gonna win 910. Man, I should have moved the square here. I should have shifted a number, but you can always find fault in a lot of things. And one thing that we are heavily on in this mental health subject, and I think all of us have covered it. And really, Jamie brought a lot of note to it with the statement he made about the kids are going to be traditional virtual students going forward, and some students are going to be hands-on, face-to-face in the old traditional style. And so the adapting of the ones that's virtual have to adapt to the kids that go to school every day.
Mhm.
But what we missing is virtual is the future.
Yep.
Virtual is a new lifestyle. So now the biggest thing is going to have to be the kids that go to school and be in front of people every day, adapting to the virtual world of living.
Yeah.
So going forward, hey, think about it. Amazon, now Walmart, now Kroger. You don't have to go to the store anymore.
Mhm.
They bring it to you.
Hey, Jamie, I keep getting kicked off, but let me just add this. We have to normalize mental health. We can't demonize. We have to normalize it. And personal for me, as you know, I've shared on other platforms, is my own brother took his own life at 29. He was about to get married back in 2007 because my baby boy wasn't even a year old. We were supposed to go home to see him get married, and we had to go bury him. And this guy was about 6'5", big gentle giant, would give you the shirt off his back. I didn't know that because I was down here. He was back at home. And he was dealing with a lot of mental health issues. He was seeing a psychologist. He wasn't taking his medication. And that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not sure if y'all have discussed that, but we have to normalize medication. Medication is not a bad thing. We can use medication to deal with the neurotransmitters and change the brain chemistry in order to help us function. And my brother, who is 29 years old, didn't do that. He got into an argument with his fiance. He left the house. He went down to the basement. He tied a hose around his neck and hung himself. So for me, it's very personal. And not only that, but I am a product of trauma as well, as my parents were dealing with addictions at various times. And I know my son is a product of trauma because his mom and I got divorced at a very young age. And so that's trauma. So I always made sure, even from when he was little, to make sure we normalize these conversations. One of the other brothers was talking about, like, how are you? Are you okay? Tell me how you feeling. Even I'll give you a real example that happened 3 weeks ago. Now he's almost 15. He wasn't able to make it to the championship soccer game for a couple of reasons. And he was very disappointed. And we talked through that. And he said, I'm very disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm upset. I didn't get to go to the game. And I specifically said, well, I think you should share that with your mother to tell her how you feel. So for us having these conversations about how he's feeling and how he's doing is normal. When his mom and I went through a divorce at the age where we could articulate that, I know he was struggling with it. And so we discussed it as much as I could share and as much as he could internalize it. So for us, we need to be able to have these conversations and make them normal with our sons and our daughters because they're looking to us. And then too, if we're dealing with our own mental health issues, we have to seek help. I know one of the guys talked about getting therapy, talking to a psychologist, a psychotherapist, or somebody that we trust. And this is a whole nother subject, and I don't know if you want to go down this trail, but a lot of times you cannot spiritualize mental health. I have been in religious and evangelical arenas, and one of the things that I see all the time, trust me, you cannot pray.
You got cut off. So listen, everybody, you can unmute your mic if I got you muted in. But as many of us that are willing to talk through stuff with our kids from a mental standpoint, there are those that shut up. I don't want to hear it, cussing the kids all the way out. Like, that's normal. They got to go through that. They're going through that on a daily basis. Now, I ain't saying everything I talk to my kids is all peaches and cream. Now, I wouldn't dare say that. And that's kind of where my whole Hello Black Man thing came from, was me trying to figure out a way to talk to my son. I'll figure out a way for him to understand me and me to understand him. So it's one of those things where it's a communication thing, and I think it's in our community. Is it in other communities? Absolutely. We can see the ramifications of poor communication on TV all the time. You got, different events happening all the time, and you say, okay, something got to be wrong there. Some miscommunication had to be transpired there. But in our community, the same way with I bring Pete back in, was saying that, do we really address it when we see it? Like when we see these mental health spurts or opportunities, like a lot of parents will just hands off. I can't do nothing with him. That's what we say. That's what a lot of our parents say. I don't know what's wrong with him. I can't do nothing with him. Like, that's not an answer. Like, you really giving up on the child right there. Like right there, you just really saying, okay, you for the street. Let the streets, figure it out. Y'all figure it out in the streets. Well, I mean, from that standpoint, are you willing to say, hey, son, let me talk to you? Or from a mentoring standpoint, I know most of you guys are around other kids and stuff like that. When I see other kids and stuff like that, even out and about, it's a way to approach kids. You can't approach them like a bully because their defense mechanisms are already up.
Down on you.
No doubt. Absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of times I'll be like, hey, man, let me hide you for a second. Hey, what y'all doing in here? What's going on? I said, man, y'all loud. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Not me now. I'm saying, but this is how this could unfold. If you don't take these steps, this could happen. That's all I'm saying, And so you can approach kids in the right way. And as a parent, there's a way to talk to your kid. And I can't tell everybody how to talk to their kid because every kid is different. Every parent is different. But they got to be able to communicate with you without it being forceful. Every conversation can't be forceful because they're going to take that trait on. When they take that trait on and they go to school and they tell their teacher, get out of my face, I ain't got to do that, then, the parent is part of ensuing their behavior. I know Primer and Sam could probably attest to that, especially, dealing with kids in the student. Trail, you also.
Well, you think, man, I remember seeing parents come up like the parent-teacher conference and be like, I can't do nothing with him. He's just a fifth grader. You telling me what, he running your house. Like, when you get them kids in the school, how administrator or staff member gonna say something to them?
Third grader. I had seen at the third grade level, people. Can't do nothing with it. 8 years old. Can't do nothing with it. Come on, man.
Yeah, one thing just real quick, it's something that kind of get bounced around in our community. Like, from my mothers, even to our dads may say it. They'll say something like, I ain't one of your little friends. Yeah. And like, I get that. That is true. You're not their friend, but that doesn't mean you can't be friendly. Yeah, and I think that's kind of where it is. And a lot of times, and I don't want to minimize, I don't want to dismiss, the root issues or anything. But sometimes what you have really is a failure to communicate because, and like as an adult, you kind of put yourself on this pedestal of I ain't got to stoop down to a kid's level. I ain't got to stoop down to my child's level. They're going to do what I say and they're going to like it. Oh, and again, I'm a big fan of obedience. Kids do need to follow their parents' instructions, but as the adult, you got to have a little bit more emotional intelligence to be like, I got to meet this kid at their level to actually talk to them and figure some stuff out. Right. And, to their point, their Primer's making, like, sometimes when they say, I can't do nothing with them. Again, sometimes that stuff is rooted in pride. Not every time. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to be blanket with it. But sometimes that stuff is just rooted in, I yelled at them. They didn't want to listen to me. I can't do nothing with them. And sometimes it comes back to like, okay, did you try not yelling? Did you ask them like did you try not yelling? Did you actually try to talk to them? Did you actually try to meet them again at their level of emotional intelligence? It's almost like this, man. It's like, we've all had newborns. Like, what sense does it make to cry at a screaming baby, right? Because and so we got to keep that mindset with our kids. It's like they might not be crying.
That's a nugget right there, man. But nugget right there.
Right, but they might not be crying when they get 5, 6, 7 years old, but they're communicating at the level that they know how. So we got to meet them at that level and figure out how to reach them.
Man, that's huge right there. That's that. Man, like I said, we take it for granted.
I would just
take it for granted. Come on, Pete. Thank you. Rose again.
Pete stuff hot, man. Shoot, he got his cue. I give him all the blessings in the world. He's sitting in the house, boy, in Mississippi in the summertime. No air. He can freeze up all day.
But then go check this out too, Jamie. Though, you know, as men, another thing we have to look at too. Most of the time, as the man of the house, we're trying to do so much. And like I asked this question one time at a men's ministry thing, where do we go when we have problems? Because most men will just keep everything up on their shoulders.
Yeah.
How you doing? I'm all right. But it's really not all right.
Yeah.
We need that point where we can go to that little room or something, or talk to that somebody.
Yep.
Let them know we're not feeling all right.
Yeah. I've been to a psychiatrist. I've been to one before. My son has. I've been, and I think it's healthy. I think it's something that at least quarterly on some type of consistent basis is good. And like I say, I started the journaling thing. That's helped me a lot. Just be able to write some stuff down that I got going on, how my day was, and stuff like that. But I'm gonna tell you, in our community, this is a taught behavior. The male no communication is taught. It's taught by your mother. Don't worry about it, son. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's taught by your father. Just shut up. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Like, so your desire to communicate is cut off early. You know what I'm saying? You a boy. Stop crying. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Whatever it is, just don't worry about it. So no root cause analysis. Your desire to communicate gets cut off. And God forbid you get into a relationship and share something with somebody and it doesn't go well. Or the information gets put back out there, or it get put in, you know what I'm saying? You tell them something that only you should know, and the information it becomes public knowledge or whatever. Or you said this or you said that. At that point, your desire to communicate is dead. So now you holding everything in at that point. Now I don't want to tell nobody nothing. I ain't gonna tell you this. I ain't gonna tell you that. It's that's where it starts. And so then when your son come up, you're not gonna tell him to explain nothing. Just whatever. I think every situation that we go through in our community, especially from a male standpoint, is from a lack of communication. It's from a lack of communication to our spouse, a lack of communication to our children, lack of communication in business. Like it's almost every avenue that we are, I guess, diluting the need for this mental health checks.
Now I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit on this one, fellas. Like I said earlier, I seen a psychiatrist. Well, it just so happened, it kind of fell in my lap when my son got diagnosed about it. But me personally, like on my everyday issue, I've been blessed with like a group of friends. Like I mean, real life brothers that we hold me to the fire every day. Like I was 3 guys that I literally have talked to every day for the last 15 years through text or through calling or wherever how we communicate. Literally 15 years. Me personally, for me, they are my psychiatrist because they hold me accountable. Right. I'm not one. I just had this conversation 2 weeks ago in church about going to see psychiatrists, just running to them because you got a problem. Like if something comes up, and not even serious, just I'm finna go talk to somebody.
You're not really going against what we're saying. But what Jamie was saying is, us as black men, we just hold stuff in. We don't talk to anybody about it.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay.
You have a circle that you talk to.
Exactly. He got that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And see,
that's a blessing, man.
Me and psychiatrists, for like me personally, it's hard for you to tell me about me if you don't know me. You see what I'm saying? That's why I might be having a bad day. I can have a bad day, and I run to this psychiatrist. Now this psychiatrist finna generalize me and put more thoughts in my head about like, okay, well, this is what's wrong with you, or this is what's wrong with you. But really, I just might be having a bad day. But I get on the phone, I hit my boy up, I hit my cuz up, me like, man, you know what I'm saying, da 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 da. You know, oh, man, you know, this way you handle this. Or this is my advice on handling this right there. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of, because he know me, instead of generalizing, he always start with, I know you, so this is what you should do, or what I think you should do. Or then he would say, and if it was me, I would handle it like this. And it just gives me, you know, that comfort, man. It's a comfort thing for me.
I don't think we all have that though, Tria. I mean,
Yeah, we don't.
Trust me, I think that's a great thing you have, but I think that the barbershop talk has went away. Like I used to love going to the barbershop, just talking about sports, just kind of, you know, talking about this and the other, just a good conversation. You know what I'm saying? A back and forth. We talking about this and the other. When you go to the barbershop now, do what everybody doing.
Right there. That's everywhere.
That's it. I mean, that's it. That's what when you go to a barbershop now, that's it. It'd be quiet and it'd be so. I'll be like, God, no, man, what's up? What's up? What's your team is? Who your team is? I'll be talking to random people. Who your team is, man? Like, what's going on? Like, who you for? And it's just we don't have that anymore. We used to, after church Sunday, you know, we would go to the grandparents' house or the old house or whatever. You ran your kids, you ran your cousins. You know, you can talk about this and the other. You could just have that older cousin relationship. But I think it's just something that we're missing. I think it's just something that we are allowing to die down. But I mean, like we got some brothers here right now that you all see it as important. You all see it as important. So listen, man, we're gonna wrap this thing up. And I got one more request for each of you. Give me a parting shot for upcoming fathers, or just fathers in general. Just a short piece of advice, something that has helped you or you feel would help the next brother.
I'll give you this one right here. There's no such thing as a perfect dad. There will be, you know, you're gonna go through trials and tribulation, but hey, stick in there and do your best, man. And one thing about it, your kids gonna look at you and they're gonna try to do what you do. So, you know, you be the best example you can, man.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate it, P.
I would say this. Somebody, my ex-trainer told me this. He said, there's no such thing as a bad day. He said, if you think you had a bad day, he said, try missing one.
Yeah. That's
real. I'm gonna go with, I tell all newlyweds, all people about to get married, and it goes for fathers and mothers, man. You gonna get out of it what you put into it. It's that simple. If you as a father, if you putting BS into your relationship with your kids and with your household, that's what you're gonna get out of it. And it's literally that simple.
Good deal, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I would say, man, this I say this to new fathers, you know, everything is not a price tag, because when you're getting ready to have a baby, the first thing people say, oh, you're gonna lose this and you're gonna do this. Man, parenting is a sunk cost. You got to pay for those kids to survive. Ain't no way around it. Now, what I tell them to do, you do have to budget your time.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to figure out what you can keep doing, what you can let go, because when it comes down to it, you got to make time for that kid.
Good deal, man. Appreciate it.
I would just say,
go ahead.
Real simple, show up, man. Just show up every day. You show up. And you know, in my situation where I'm in a co-parenting situation and my child happens to live in another state, just show up. You know, there's ways now, because you all were talking about technology and we're in a virtual situation, there's ways that I can communicate with my child every day. And even though he's in another state, we are still just as close. Our bond is stronger than ever. And as some of y'all know who have teenagers or people entering high school, these are the critical years. So I'm just going to keep showing up for the life of my child. And I would encourage y'all to do that too, to push through whatever it is you got to push through, work through what you have to work through, and keep showing up for your children, man, because they deserve it.
I think that's Pete again. Come on with it, Miss Branch.
Yeah, just a statement my father told me to never apologize for a decision you thought was best for your family. And the ultimate goal is to provide a better lifestyle for your children than you had. And always keep that in mind.
Yeah. So man, listen, I appreciate all you guys coming on and just listen. We've been here an hour and a half. I swear, I feel like we just popped on here. We've been on here an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It has been an hour and a half. I look at the time and say, man, we're in it right on the part. I guess my parting shot is communicate with your kids. Just being a father, I have a unique situation where I have bonus kids. I have my kids. I'm learning to communicate better with my father, learning some things about him. But your kids, from a kid standpoint, your kids are talking to you every day with their language, with their mood, with their verbal and nonverbal. So I would encourage all you fathers out there to just watch, learn, and pick up on behaviors of your kids, pick up on patterns of your kids. And when patterns change, something may have happened, and be able to communicate with them, be able to get it out of them. Because your kids may be in situations they are afraid to tell you, and you can't believe they wouldn't tell you. Like, I can't believe my son wouldn't tell me this, or I couldn't believe my daughter would tell me that she's in this situation, or this is going on, and she's involved. So that communication is so key. If when it's dealing with kids, because they will become, they'll put their wall up. If we don't ensure that we are inviting, the communication is an inviting environment, and they feel like they got the confidence and things to tell you. So, man, listen, I appreciate you guys for popping on, man, being a part of the podcast.
Hey, Jamie,
They speak. Come on with it, P.
before we go, listen, let me tell you something for you to do. Don't you work your kids like your daddy did me and you that time.
Please, tell the guy what my dad did.
One weekend, I didn't want to go home to Greenville. James said, hey, man, come on, go home with me. We're going to go to the club and everything. I said, well, I ain't got no money. He said, we're going to work for my daddy.
Oh, Harold.
Hey, he said, cool. So everything on Jamie. We'll get there. Hey, we'll stay with mom. We going out. Went to the club. Jamie like a superstar. So Saturday, we go work for his daddy. I'm going to just give an example. From the men tower to the sub, that man made us cut grass with a push lawnmower.
Come on, man.
Look, then he paid us. At the end of the day, we had been out there seemed like about 10 hours. That man he gave me $25, said, hey, this is going to keep you from stealing. Hey, that dude worked there like a dog, man. And Jamie was talking, I'm glad you came. He paid it this
Man, my daddy probably was like, man, I appreciate it. That's what it probably would have did if I ain't have Crown. Crown probably got us money that I wouldn't have got, man. Oh my God. Guys, man.
Don't you work with kids like that, man.
I won't do it. I kind of push them sometimes, but I ain't gonna do them like that. Guys, man, it's been a phenomenal opportunity to have you all on, man. I thank you all. I thank you all for your time, for your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding on just about being a father. You've been very open and very transparent. Make sure you share and tag this, bring some other brothers, let them see it's okay to talk about this stuff. It's okay to talk about where we stand financially, where we stand with physical fitness, and where we stand with mental health, man. My name is Jamie Jenkins. We're going to sign off. Come on with it.
Hey, I want to say, appreciate all you fellas, man. I learned, I appreciate everything. Good seeing some of y'all I ain't seen in a while. And Pete, I do want you to know you're not the first black person first black man I ever met from Rhode Island. You are the first black person that I ever met from Rhode Island. Period. Like, it was great to meet you. Real talk.
Man, y'all crazy. Hey, man, thank y'all, man. Y'all help me out there, man. I love y'all guys.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Good evening, fellas.